Hello everyone. So today we'll be speaking about taking pictures on Blackmagic 6K pocket camera, or the Pro version, or the 4K version, and how I think that there is a shift in an industry that actually we may not realize that yet, but potentially, you know, the DSLR type of cameras and photography might disappear altogether. Cameras like the Canon R5C are the first indicators that actually you can have a video dedicated camera that can take stills equally as good. And in this case, in my case, where I'm using Blackmagic, I actually am almost always now using stills from the grabs from the raw files, and never once I feel like I am left out or I'm missing something as in terms of the bit depth or the tonal range of what I get. Actually, it's even easier for me because I'm developing my own LUTs, so when I take a shot or a video, that I really enjoy in terms of the color, composition, meaning, whatever, I can just extract the still and it's just as good as if I was taking it with a dedicated DSLR or a mirrorless camera and then work it in a Lightroom. To be honest, probably video taught me that it's even less important what device you're capturing it on, and it really is way more important the meaning behind it and other things like the lighting and the composition. And I remember a pro photographer gave me a tip once saying that actually, if you do it in camera right, if it does look right, then it's most likely what you wanted to achieve, and would push me towards trying to get an image in camera as much as possible. And it's one of those tips that you get many years down the line, and you keep remembering, and one day, once you're in that position and you achieved something, you're like, wow, yeah, absolutely, it makes sense. So yeah, in terms of capturing stills with Blackmagic, you have really two options. One is being a dedicated stills button that you press and it records the DNG file. And the other one is when you're in DaVinci Resolve in your color tab and you right click on it, grab a still, is where you can save the still image. Personally, I found as a still, you may have a bit more information in the DNG file, but for me, in terms of time management, it's way easier if I just grab a still from DaVinci Resolve, and it is plenty detailed, plenty enough resolution. It's essentially the same file, and if you're got used to your workflow in terms of the color management and all that, I actually think it isn't more advantageous than just taking the DNG file to Lightroom or to Photoshop, just because in DaVinci Resolve, you have so much more power in terms of tone mapping. Like for instance, myself, I really like airy log C and airy color to work from when I develop my LUT. And in Lightroom, I don't really have that option. Just one more thing to note when you're actually setting out to take, maybe you know that you're going to be taking stills for a particular shot, is sometimes it depends what you want to capture motion-wise and whatnot. But you can actually use the Blackmagic just as well as any mirrorless camera. Is what you have to keep in mind is that everything is manual. So obviously, if you want to freeze action, you just have to lower your shutter angle, or if you're not using the shutter angle, just do at a faster speed, as in 1/1000th of a second or something like that, if you're trying to freeze some action. It's actually a good way to also reduce the light output. So if you, for example, don't have the ND on a spot or something, and you want that shadow depth of field, but if you're capturing just a still, it doesn't really matter. You can actually crank up that shutter to a lot higher numbers and get good stills. So yeah, that's just my quick take on the photography, how it's actually merging into the video world, just because the technology is now available to do that. And one of the best examples is the Nikon Z9, which is a proper flagship, I call them fridge size full frame camera that actually doesn't have mechanical shutter. And if we're heading that way with the faster sensor readouts, especially the likes of Red Komodo, when you have a global shutter and just entire image gets captured, I think that's some exciting times to look forward to. And in my opinion, the mechanical shutter is just gonna go away into oblivion, and technology, as everything else, keeps changing and moving forward, and so will we. The only thing we have to do is just alter our mentality a little bit and not be the fanboys. Okay, that's it from me for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.